Today, on Issue at Hand, we cover an important topic for every informed comic...
Susana!
What?
Why is Archie hot now? This is Issue at Hand, Polygon's show about the strange world of comics, and Susana is going to explain how Archie got so hot.
Hey, what?
Do it.
Okay, Archie Comics. Hot Archie. Yeah, I can explain that. I talk a lot about Marvel and DC on Issue at Hand because they're the biggest publishers in the American comics industry, and because if you don't regularly read comics, you're still likely to have heard of their characters and be curious about them. But Archie Comics also fits that description. It's one of the oldest still thriving comics publishers in the US. The love triangle between Archie, Betty, and Veronica is almost the same age as the one between Lois Lane, Superman, and Clark Kent. And if you've grown up going to grocery stores in America, or watching the Josie and the Pussycats movie, or Melissa Joan Hart on Sabrina the Teenage Witch, you almost certainly recognize the company's characters. And the publisher has managed to get that cultural saturation and survive that long without ever being primarily known for superhero comics, something that makes it unique in the American industry. Archie Andrews, Betty Cooper, and Jughead Jones first appeared in Pep Comics number 22 in 1941. The Riverdale we know today, where teenagers have various wholesome teenage adventures and never ever age, was inspired by the Andy Hardy series of classic Hollywood films with Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland. Archie began as a comedy series with a secondary focus on romance, a common genre for teen-focused comics at the time. Remember that before the Comics Code, there were lots of popular genres to choose from in comics, and romance comics were a big one. Jack Kirby, the Jack Kirby who co-created most of Marvel and put the cosmic and superhero comics, even went into romance comics after World War II, selling 2 million copies of his young romance a month. But unlike a lot of its contemporaries, Archie Comics survived the Comics Code era, and even the social changes of the 60s, by making sure its take on the American teen evolved with modern tastes. In the 70s, while superhero comics were struggling to approach modern subjects, Archie started reprinting its 30-year back catalog in Archie Digests, allowing a grown generation of fans to easily pass the comics on to a younger one. Not to mention that Archie and the gang have never really had a hard continuity that readers had to follow along with. But that's not to say that the publisher has never found success with a massive interconnected universe, because it got the license to make the popular and absurdly long-lived Sonic comics series, which ran for an uninterrupted 290 issues over more than 20 years.
Why are you still talking about comics instead of the critically acclaimed by me CW show Riverdale, in which Archie is absurdly hot?
How hot could he possibly be? Wow. Okay. I think I got it.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the last decade of Archie Comics. What's key to understanding this was that 2010 was smack in the middle of some executive shakeup and conflict at Archie Comics. I mean, at one point its co-CEOs were suing each other. At the same time, the publisher partnered with Random House in order to expand its reach into bookstores and into formats like the graphic novel. You could think of it as a good time for new ideas aimed at expanding Archie's readership, and this trend started with two big ones. Longtime Archie artist and writer Dan Parent proposed that Archie Comics include its first gay character, Kevin Keller, and his debut issue sold out so quick that it became the first issue of any Archie comic to get a second printing.
Oh, I know Kevin! He's in Riverdale!
Yeah, see, I'm getting to it. Also in 2010, Archie Comics relaunched Life with Archie, which had been canceled in 1991 as a new series that was telling two stories at the same time, each one in a different parallel universe future. In one, Archie had married Veronica, and they're both unhappily working corporate jobs for her father. In the other, Archie has married Betty, moved to New York City, and the couple are living paycheck to paycheck as Betty discovers she's pregnant and Archie realizes that he's never going to get his music career off the ground. Life with Archie started out as a series for teens, but Archie Comics quickly realized that it was actually attracting an audience of adult fans who liked the references and the juxtaposition of childhood nostalgia with adult subjects. And it's hard not to look at a lot of Archie Comics projects since then through that lens. In 2013, Archie published Afterlife with Archie, a bleak horror story where Jughead brings a zombie plague to Riverdale by asking Sabrina the Teenage Witch to use dark magic to bring his dog Vegas back to life, and Cheryl Blossom is suspected of killing her twin brother Jason.
That's my Riverdale.
Right. And in 2014, Archie Comics brought Life with Archie to a close by having Archie die, saving Kevin Keller from a stalker's bullet.
Why would anyone want to kill Kevin?
Because he'd been elected to the US Senate on a pro-gun control stance. Anyway, all of this brings me to spring of 2015, when Archie Comics relaunched its flagship title Archie with Archie #1, written by Mark Waid and drawn not in the classic Archie house style, but by Fiona Staples.
Who's Fiona Staples?
Well, she's probably best known for drawing Saga with Brian K. Vaughan, but this is what her designs for the Archie cast look like.
Hey, they're hot.
Yeah, and the new direction was critically successful and sold pretty well, and was followed up with more titles in the same vein, including a relaunched Betty and Veronica and Jughead from Chip Zdarsky and Erica Henderson, in which Jughead came out as asexual. That all happened in 2015 and early 2016, which was right around when Riverdale got a pilot order at the CW. It's not unreasonable to assume that Life with Archie, Afterlife with Archie, and the Archie relaunch influenced the folks behind the TV show. And that's why Archie is hot now.
This makes sense to me.
Now, explain Jingle Jangle to me.
I can't.
Next time on Issue at Hand, the Don't Miss Comics of 2017.
Susana, why is Aquaman hot?
Series of classic Hollywood films with Mickey Rooney and Judge Judy Garland is I think what my mouth was trying to say. Ran for an uninterrupted 290 issues over more than 20 years.
Sorry.